Hello everyone, my name's Anthogwin, and today we're going to be doing a little video on He Who Fights with Monsters. I was going through Spotify trying to find something that I could listen to that was more than a podcast, because I started getting the burnout from the usual podcasts that I frequent, and I listened to a couple books on Spotify, but they don't really grab my attention. You know, you got some of the classics on there, and then you got some weird books that are like modern, and it's kind of like, all right, I don't know if I want to listen to that necessarily. And then I don't know how I necessarily found this book. I was just scrolling, and boom, here it was. I think maybe the cover was like, okay, it looks a little bit cool, you know, let's just give it a shot. And my goodness, I fell in love. I'm sitting here doing dishes. I am cooking more. I already do that stuff anyways, but I'm doing more of that. I am folding more laundry. I am finding any excuse. I'm going to the gym and I'm going extra slow with my workouts, which makes it burn a whole lot more. But you know, it's improving my life because I get locked in. I'm working out, I'm locked in. I'm doing the chores, I'm locked in. I'm cleaning the house, doing full on cleans, and I'm like, all right. And then when it's done, I'm like, I need something more to do because it's so good. I want to have an excuse so that way, you know, the wife ain't like, hey, let's go out and do something together. Let's go on a date. I'm like, no, I need to finish this book. This is sarcasm, by the way. But it's a fantastic introduction to the lit RPG genre, which if you had told me this was a genre, I would have believed it, but I never even was like privy to what this is. I knew fantasy was a thing. I've done fantasy books, but I didn't know that there was something like this. This is, I'd say for someone who needs an introduction to this genre, this is a fantastic book. I know there's another one, Dungeon Crawler Carl. Oh my goodness. And I haven't touched on that one yet, but that one's also another fantastic one that I've heard. I plan on probably giving that a go when I finish this up. But if you are looking for something to ponder and get a little go, if you have Spotify Premium, by all means, this is something that I think will hold your attention if you give it a shot. It has a lot of jargon, like words that you probably might not be familiar with if you don't play like MMOs and things, if you don't play games. But it's done in a way where he lays it all out for you. And when I first started it, I remember I was thinking, man, this is going to get really annoying if this has to kind of explain everything and there's a lot for me to learn. And it kind of tickled on that because I was kind of being like predisposed, like, okay, I know this is gonna how it's gonna go. It's gonna be this way, but it's really not. Like the system, you understand it, and this is one of those things where it's kind of like, you know, you have a solo leveling kind of vibe where the dude that you're following is a loser, and then he ends up becoming something, you know, awesome. Now I do say that it'd say he was a loser, but he's actually he doesn't act like one. So you don't have this like, oh, I was always the lamest kid in school and everyone always hated me and I just want to see the world burn. You don't have anything like that. You have a guy who was like a fully grown man, you know, before he got into this, got translated to this other world. You know, he had a job, he, you know, had successful relationships, he had heartbreak, you know, he's a normal everyday bloke. And I don't know if I said his name is. His name is Jason Asano. He's an Australian man. So he has some Australian humor in there, which I totally welcome. It's a nice, it's just refreshing. And I know some people say they don't like this. You kind of are in one of two camps. You either love this and you think it's the best thing ever, or you think it's pretty horrible. Like I said, I'm in the camp that's just I'm addicted. I started it early February or late January, and I'm on book 7. I'm like halfway through it now, and it's just I had to go get more credits. I had to go get more of these books. Like I had to have it in my life. I'm like, I need this. I can't wait a month for my Spotify Premium to stop being a jerk about it and, you know, give me more. So yeah, it's fantastic. Emotionally wise, they have some moments where you know, you kind of don't know how this is going to go. It could be one of those books where, you know, oh, everyone that you love stays alive, and you know they have the scary moments like, oh, there's tension, but you know it ain't gonna do anything to get you. Oh, they'll get you a little bit. And it's kind of interesting how it ends up going and it handles it. I did like that he's not going to safeguard you from having some of your favorite people or people that you grow kind of attached to a little bit. You know, they're not going to be those pillars that stay there forever. This is a very real and dynamic kind of world, even with the power creep with our main character, Jason Asano. And that's a thing that I also see a lot of people were talking about online, where they're saying, you know, oh, every book he's going to get a new power. And so far, something like that has happened. But I think if you just had a book series where you don't see no growth, I think that would be grounds to be like, okay, well, this is not that exciting. So I I think for me personally, for what I'm getting out of my first introduction to the series, I'm kind of happy that we do get some growth. I'm kind of happy that we do have an expectation that things are going to escalate and we're going to have some awesome moments. And I really, really like how they handle this power creep because they have a ranking system in this. So you start out as a normal, and then you can get iron rank, then it goes bronze, and then it goes silver, gold, and then you have diamond rank. And when you start the book, he's the first level, he's iron, or he's not even iron. He has to actually get to iron, so he's just a normie. And the things that you see as weak later on, when he's of course a higher rank or whatever, is like life and death for us. And the tension is just constantly able to be there. And even when he gets to be like this super awesome, badass kind of character through the ranking systems, the author, Shirley, he is very good with still making sure that we don't get an ego, that we don't amass, something like we will constantly be getting things kind of put in check. And there are moments like he doesn't let him just, he gets to be a cool badass every now and then. Like we do get to see that. And I find myself being like, oh, I just want him to, do this and that and that and this. And I'm really glad that he doesn't give into that temptation that I would have because, then it's just like, all right, One Punch Man. It's like, okay, this is cool, but you got to hold the attention, which don't even get me started on what season 3 did. I haven't even watched it past like episode 3, but it's like, that's another can of worms. But you don't have that where he's able to just wipe the floor clean with everyone. There is the struggles. There is a nice power balance. And since the world was new when you start book 1, it has a lot of these things that it throws at you, but everything that I was introduced to, I thought was just like, oh, this is cool, this is awesome, I like this. And it kind of continues going on, even if the system, is vastly more open. You're not going to sit there and have things that were cool in, first book, cool in 7th book, but you're going to have things that was in the 7th book that's cool that you wouldn't even be able to think about in the first book, if that makes sense. I guess this is just a long roundabout way to say that it paces well and it keeps it interesting. And I love the story arcs that we kind of have. It just reminds me of a really well put together D&D campaign, which I think is probably the basis for a lot of good literary RPGs. I'd have to imagine. Of course, I can't speak to that on a whole. I think I more so mean fantasy in general kind of follows that formula. So it does a good job with that. We also see a lot of cooking and food related things, which typically when I get into books or things that talk about food, I am like, okay, this is a snore fest. I'm not the kind of person that wants to watch him cook eggs and eat eggs or hear about it. But it's handled in a way that I really like. Like it's kind of just it's nice having those breather moments where it's like, okay, we get this, and you really get a lot of personality. You really will be able to understand and even internalize like who our main character is, and I respect that. He does, grow and he changes a little bit, but like his core principles, they stay pretty consistent all the way throughout. And I don't know, I haven't seen him live long enough to be the villain of the story. And I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I like to believe that it won't, but we'll see. I'm a little over halfways, so I think there is 12 books at the moment, and he's working on 13. I know that he was sick for a little bit, and it was a little bit of a hiatus, but I think he's back at it. And I do want to say that the Audible book version of this is done by a guy named Heath Miller, and he is fantastic. I am honestly going to be looking at some other books that he has voiced after this one's probably up. I don't know which order of the books I'm going to go in, if I'm going to go to Dungeon Crawler Carl, or if I'm going to just go to another Heath Miller book. I know there's a couple books, like some In Tavern book or something like that. I'm not quite sure. But I think if you start with this book, I have a fear that I set the bar really high by just randomly stumbling upon this. Like, I'm afraid that I'm going to find another thing, and if the pacing doesn't match something like this, I don't know how I'm going to, keep with it. But we'll see. 7.5 way through, and I'm still looking forward to it. Like today, I went to the gym, and I'm still doing longer workouts. I'm going slower, and adding even more. So I'm pushing myself. I've noticed like personal growth on my level just because I am so looking forward to getting more of this. And with podcasts and things, I find myself being like, okay, I can kind of half listen a little bit here and there, and I'm gonna, still glean everything I need to. With this, I find myself going back, pushing the back 30-second button or whatever. I'm going back if I miss something important, because I know that missing a detail, it's not like missing it's going to be everything. It's not the kind of book where it's like, okay, you can't pick things up, but missing it might just be getting something fun that you are wanting to, you're in this story, you're getting invested this deep, you want to kind of get what you can get out of it. So I've had a few moments where something will be revealed or something will be talked about, and I'll be thinking about that for a moment. It's like, I need to really like pause this. I'm gonna sit there and do this, which typically I'll do what I need to do, but I'm thoroughly engrossed in this book. I can't highly rate this enough. And I haven't had any book like this before that I've kind of read, or I haven't watched a anime that has been this thorough in its systems and things where it's been interesting. And I think that the benefit of having this as a book form is you can do a lot more than what you can do in manga, because you can kind of get into the nitty gritty if you really want to. I guess the medium just lets you dive deeper than what other mediums might. So it's just fantastic. It's perfect. I could see this being an adaptation into something, show-wise, something like that. They have everything they needed here for that. I think if you're looking for something to kind of get into as Spotify Premium, give it a little listen and see what you think. I'd probably say, get yourself invested a little bit into it before you give up on it. But yeah, I think you won't be wrong giving this a go. And I think it's 5 out of 5, 97% on Google user reviews for a reason. And yeah, he's done a fantastic job. It says originally published December 23rd, 2023 for the first book, according to Google. I haven't done a specific search type one, but that's why I see it here. So if that's the case, he is like booking it. And that's kind of crazy that he's written so much. But I think that this is kind of also something that a lot of literary RPGs, or I guess maybe book series in general, I'm not quite sure, do, where they write a lot. I was seeing some other posts, and I was looking at books for after this is done, and they said, oh yeah, this is like, the book 13 something series that I'm following, waiting for the next one. So yeah, which kind of makes me just want to commend the authors, where it's like, okay, there's been book series where I waited like 5 years for the next book, and this has a whole lot more in it, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, I need to pick up the pace if this guy's able to do this. But I digress. If you like the video, leave a like. If you have any comments, any suggestions for books for me to look at maybe in the future when I finish this, inevitably, and who knows how many more months, that'd be awesome. So yeah, consider subscribing. Until next time, see you later. Bye.